Hi, Mason here with the final update for my character, basically post Mageblood. And honestly, it's a very short update. This one won't take long. For people who are experienced, the TLDR is you buy a Mageblood. I bought a 2 Flask Mageblood. And then you swap your flasks to be 2 Quicksilver, Silver, and then triple Unique Flask. If you're playing 2 Flask Mageblood, if you're playing more, then you would put in a Diamond Flask. If you're playing 4 Flask, you'll put in a Sulfur Flask. However, this setup actually does more damage than the 4 Flask Mageblood setup. And that's basically it. There's really not much else to cover. I'll just talk a little bit about Sanctum itself. Sanctum itself is fine. It is nerfed compared to last league because Balance of Terror prices are not as good. However, and the drop rate is still the same. So it's kind of just like a mid-tier strategy. Probably high tier if you're very good at it and very good at doing it fast. Otherwise, it's kind of it's kind of average. This character has a play time of 2 days and 12 hours. It's probably actually the shortest character I've played in Sanctum. I'm only just hit level 99, and previous characters I had, they hit nearly level 100. So I would say it's probably one of the shorter play times I've had on a character. Originally, I was planning to do original sin runs, so the original scripture, but it's like nearly 300 divines for the actual scripture itself. And I don't think, when I checked before, but we'll check again. It's like a mirror. So there's some margins to be made. We'll check the, what do you call it? The mirror to divine ratio? I'm just curious. Okay, so there's maybe 50 divine of margins to be made per run. But I kind of lost interest when I realized I had to farm 300 divines, grind out 300 divines just to try the scripture. And at the point when I was checking, which was a week before, it was 1 mirror for a scripture and 1 mirror for an original sin. So there was basically no profits to be made there. So I will be not doing original scripture runs this league. I will be not changing this character. I'm more or less done with this character. And I'm not making any other characters. I'm actually playing hardcore SSF. I'm just done with trade for this league, at least at this moment, until I find a build I want to play or whatever. So I still have some random currency sitting around in my stash. I have some divines, some veiled exalts that I held, and a bunch of awakener orbs. So that's kind of it for kind of this Sanctum journey, I guess. I'm going to put up the POB and just talk a little bit about some of the changes. So first thing I did was I added some leveling notes here because I was getting asked that a lot. So just check that out here. Everything else is all the same up to the part where it says, I think around here. So you can get a heat shiver with +1 power charge, which is what I ended up getting on my helmet slot because it gives you a ton of damage. But you will need physical to cold conversion on gloves for this. Otherwise, your chill effect will be too low. And Taste of Hate, the flask, also helps. So this one also helps. But aside from that, the Mageblood. So just talk about why a 2 Flask Mageblood. So normally 4 Flask, right? 2 Flask is way cheaper. It was 60 divines when I bought mine. And the reason why, so 1, Mageblood is just for permanent onslaught and movement speed. So you can get that from 2 flasks, Quicksilver and Silver Flask, right? So your other flasks, generally, are Diamond Flask and Sulfur Flask. Diamond Flask doesn't do much, if we just quickly look at the flask itself. Diamond Flask doesn't do much because you have a ton of power charges, so you're very easily capped on crit already. So the Diamond Flask is it's not that great. So you see here, global crit chance, it's not that great. And then the other one, which is Sulfur Flask, is also not that great because all it does is it gives you the 40% increased damage, but it's been boosted to nearly 80%. And you have a lot of increased damage already. So if you look at my damage, 800%. So if I add 100% increased damage onto this, it's I get 10% damage, right? Because 800% goes to 900%. So yes, it's 10% damage on a flask. It's actually okay, but it's whatever in the end. And also, Mageblood 4 flask costs so much more than a 2 flask. That's why I settled with a 2 flask because it was so cheap, and you get massive quality of life from Quicksilver and Silver Flask, and you get actual giga damage from these 3 flasks here. So if you look at them, this one here gives 10%, this one here gives 6%, this one here gives 6%, but this one actually gives more because of the way Heat Shiver works. Because this one allows you to have a bigger chill. But that's literally it. All you do is you swap your Mageblood over, you grab triple flask, you can get a 2 flask, 3 flask, or a 4 flask, your personal preference. If you get 4 flask, your flasks will be Quicksilver, Silver, Diamond, and Sulfur. And you can also grab a Cannot Be Frozen suffix on one of your flasks, which I haven't settled for. I settled for crit and movement speed here. But I went for a 2 flask because it was way cheaper, and it actually ended up doing more damage than a 4 flask because of the triple unique flask here. And these have pretty decent uptime because they only work when you hit a rare, like that's the enchant on it. But yeah, that's literally it. That's basically here for the notes. If you are going to use Mageblood outside of mapping, outside of Sanctum, sorry, then obviously you want a 4 flask. Otherwise, just grab a 2 flask if it's just purely for your Sanctum character. I will just quickly point out a bug. There is a bug in POB with, I think it's Assassin's Mark and Elemental Weakness. So if you look here, if I untick this, you see here that it says minus crit chance and minus crit multi, because this one is overwriting my Assassin's Mark. So what I recommend is if you're checking how much crit chance you have, you want to untick Elemental Weakness, and you can check your crit like that. And then when you tick Elemental Weakness, basically the damage calculation for Elemental Weakness, and mainly for Balance of Terror, for this particular mod on it, the 40% fizz as a random element is not accurate. But Balance of Terror still gives you a ton of damage. It's like 30% more damage. I talked to Local Identity, so the POB guy, and he said he would be implementing a change for it. That should fix this issue. So basically, Balance of Terror is really good. It's like 30% more damage. So just make sure you do get this one. Doesn't have to be a perfect roll, just get something that's good. But yeah, that's basically it. There's not really much to update on this anymore. I will be making a video right after this for covering every single Sanctum room. So keep an eye out for that if you're struggling with Sanctum. Otherwise, I hope this kind of serves as a 0 to hero for Sanctum. You go from League Start, you go all the way to pre-Mage Blood, and then you go to Mage Blood. And if you want to take no hit runs and you want to go further, you would get upgrades on your rings. You would get +1 power charge implicits, or you would swap to the the Annihilating Light ZHP no hit running setup with the Simplex. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I'm gonna keep this one short because there's not really that much more information. And you just make sure you read the notes because the notes are very detailed. But yeah, hope you have a good league start. Well, it's not league start anymore, but I hope you're having a good league so far. If you are trying Sanctum as a new player, I'm gonna make a video right after this covering how to do every single room efficiently. But yeah, thanks for watching.